5 o'clock, so we'll start this regular meeting of this Azusa Unified School Board. We will call this meeting to order at 5 p.m., and we will go into close. First we have items from the floor. Any public comment on closed session items? Anybody wishing to address the board? Okay, seeing none, we will go into closed session at 5 p.m., and we'll reconvene at 7 p.m. Good evening. We're going to reconvene back to open session. We were in closed session at 7:02 p.m. And so we'll start with the flag salute, so if everyone will please rise. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll move on to roll call. Adrian Greer.
Here.
Yolanda Rodriguez Peña.
Present.
Jerry Bibles Vogel.
Here.
Gabriela Arellanes.
Present.
And I am here, Shilani Cruz Gonzalez. Moving on, we have approval of the agenda. What are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve. Second.
Who made the motion? Sorry. Motion by Gabriela Arellanes, second by Yolanda Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think.
It's not there yet.
Okay, yeah, place your votes. Yeah. Please vote online.
No, it's on there.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. Tenemos servicio de traducción. Si alguien necesita audífonos, ve a la señora Camacho. ¿Dónde está la señora Camacho? Por acá. Y tenemos audífonos. All right, moving on, we have, we'll start with recognition and awards. And so we'll start off with item 5.1, recognition of Azusa High School student Nelly Alfaro, winner of the district oratory competition.
Good evening. I'm Rob Velasco, Assistant Principal of Azusa High School. I'm here to thank you for recognizing two of our awesome Aztecs that we have here today. They are both IB students, and I just want to share a little bit about our IB program. We are currently in our third year of implementing the IB program, and this is, we had graduating class, 9 students last year that received over $700,000 worth of scholarships. This year we have 13 students that will be graduating, and the first person I would like to call up is Miss Nelly Alfaro.
And as she's walking up there, Rob, can you let us... We try to stay away from accurate. Please let...
International Bachelorette is the IB program. Is that me or is that? Okay. So this is Nelly, and she's currently one of our awesome IB students who has applied to Stanford and Harvard, and hopefully we get some good news very soon. But we also want to recognize her because she recently won the Azusa Unified School District Oratory Contest and the AXA Region 15 Oratory Contest, and she competed against 25 other students from other districts. So she was one of the top 6 finalists, received a nice $700 prize for her efforts. And so we just want to congratulate Nelly and all her efforts, and we're very proud of you.
Is it on? Yeah. I'd like to present this certificate, Azusa Unified School District Certificate of Recognition. It's probably to present Nelly Alfaro for winning the district oratorio competition and finishing strong on behalf of the AUSD at the Association of California School Administrators ACSA Regional Competition. Today, March 19, 2019, signed by Dr. Linda Kaminsky, Superintendent, and Shilani Cruz Gonzalez, Board President. And I'd like to say something about Nellie. I have seen her twice, and she's dynamic, and I could see why she won. She's not shy one bit. She, last year you won also, right?
Yes.
Yes, she won last year, and then I seen her again this time. Very vibrant young lady. I'm sure you have something to say, right? Is your mom here today, Mira?
Right here.
Oh, ahí está. Sí, hola. You want to have something to say here?
It's been a great honor attending this district. I would not imagine myself elsewhere, and thanks to all the hard work and all the smiles that I've received from people. And if you haven't seen my speech, it's because it's about smiles. So thank you for your smiles, everyone. The opportunities I've gotten at Azusa High School, being in the International Baccalaureate program, has actually helped me win this competition, because one of the main points that we strive for is being a great communicator, and that's how we get to reach out to different organizations, start some projects that would help our global enterprise that's around the whole country, and not only ourselves but people that are in need, and being inspired not only by our superintendent, who always believed strong in me, and she told me, I think you could apply to Harvard, and that's why I followed with it. I remember that from last year, and hopefully I get some good news, and if not, well, I did take a leap and actually hoped for something. Thank you guys for being helpful.
Wait, Nellie. One more comment. So one comment is, if you do get into Harvard, I'll tell you where you can get warm jackets, because you'll need it.
So as Mr. Velasco is walking over there, I'm going to, we'll move on to the next item, and that is recognition of Azusa High School student Roberto Solorio for scholarship recipient at the New England College.
Is it on? There it is. Okay. This is Robert Solorio, another one of our awesome IB Aztecs. So we're very proud of our IB program. Robert just received a $120,000 scholarship to the New England College in New Hampshire. And it's just an outstanding, it's just great for our Aztecs, because he's one of the first ones to get that full ride, full scholarship. And we're looking forward to hearing back from you, all the successes, and we just want to congratulate you on a job well done.
The certificate of recognition is proudly presented to Robert Solorio. All I have to say is amazing. 100%, 120,000. Wow, I can't wait to hear the journey, the endeavor you're about to take. So congratulations, Roberto. Here you go.
And Roberto?
All right, moving on. Moving on, we have item 5.3, recognition of the local control funding formula, also known as LCFF, test kitchen participants.
Good evening, President Cruz Gonzalez, board members, Dr. Kaminsky, cabinet members. Very excited today to follow our great students with an opportunity also to recognize some staff and parents who have contributed to what we call the LCFF test kitchen. So I want to first bring them up, and then I'll just give you a little bit about our project and what we accomplished. So we had a diverse group contributing to this project that took place over the last year and a half, and so I want to bring up our teacher from Magnolia School, Megan Gustafson. Our awesome Ellington Eagle parent, Christine Wagner. We have two members that can't join us tonight, but I do want to acknowledge Maria Cota, a classified staff member at Azusa High School, and Saida Valdez, who is a site administrator on our team. I also have some other great district-level administrators who served on the team. Arturo Ortega, Mitchell, Dana Mitchell, there we go. Mark Bomarito, and Lika Juarez also came in as she joined our team when she joined AUSD, and then myself. So this was your LCFF Test Kitchen team. We were fondly known by the other districts and organizations as the A team. So we kind of like that nickname. So just to fill you in a little bit about what the LCFF Test Kitchen was, it was a partnership between 4 state and private education and organizations. The 4 organizations were, and there's going to be a lot of acronyms, but I'll tell you what they were. One is called the CCEE, which is the California Collaborative for Educational Excellence. The CCDR, which is the California Collaborative for District Reform. An organization called Pivot Learning, and another organization called WestEd. And those 4 organizations kind of piloted and led the project and selected only 3 districts in the whole state to work on this test kitchen project. And those were, of course, Azusa Unified, Oceanside School District in the San Diego area, and Elk Grove Unified School District, which is right outside of Sacramento. So we spent some time, and the purpose of this project was to really address some of the challenges that have emerged as we begin to implement the local control funding formula in the state and the LCAP, that local control and accountability plan process. And so our job was to, as a team in each district, find a problem of practice around that and address it. And not only address it together and use each other districts and these organizations as support, but to use a process called user-centered design thinking, which is it's a new way of problem solving that really comes out of the software industry and is now making its way into education. And the process is to really think about who are the end users of what we're trying to do here, and to bring them into helping collect data and inform how best to solve a problem or meet a challenge that you're facing. And it involves this data collection and revision, but it's also very creative, and there's a process of very creative brainstorming and thinking about exactly how best to meet the challenge. And so our team had a great time going through that process, and we were so proud because we were the only district that also had classified teacher and parent member on our team. And it just brought a richness to what we could do, and we were, as we problem solved for really looking to improve communication and transparency around our LCAP process. So I just wanted to celebrate all of their hard work, the many hours they put in, and just all of you actually saw what we created. It was last fall. It was the animated infographic about our LCAP process in Azusa. And if people haven't seen it, you can find it in English and Spanish on the AUSD website and the LCAP webpage. So thank you guys for all your hard work. You were an awesome team to work with.
And if I could invite the honorees up real quick so we can take a photo. And the certificate says, to all of our honorees for improving transparency and communication through their participation in the local control funding formula test kitchen.
And since I'm coming around, there are 2 policy and practice briefs that were written about our work and our involvement in this. I don't know if you've seen them, but I do have copies for you to read. If you're interested, I'll leave them.
Thank you. Moving on, we'll have, okay. I apologize. Moving on, we have next item 6.1, items from the floor, public comment on agenda or non-agenda items. This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on agenda or non-agenda items. No action can be taken on non-agenda items. Individual speakers may be allowed up to 3 minutes to address the board on any agenda or non-agenda item. Prior to addressing the board, please fill out the request to speak public comment blue card and submit it to the board secretary. And if you had not submitted a card, you can still come up at the end of the queue or fill one out at this point and submit it as well. So we'll start off with the first card. And the first card is Lydia Barragan, speaking about the closure of Mountain View.
Hello, my name is Lydia Barragan, and I'm a parent of 2 kids that currently attend Mountain View, one in dual immersion and one in regular English class. I'm here to represent the parents and tell you why we are upset. You know, we understand that you guys have to close the school, more than one, most likely. And, well, you guys are closing more than one, too. But the reason why we are upset is because you guys are following a recommendation that was made more than a year ago. It was given to you just a year ago, because we were here last year discussing that. I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity for that year to really look at the recommendation that was given to you by the 7-Eleven committee, but we did. And to us, it doesn't look fair. I mean, because to us, it looks like the reason why you guys are closing our school is because of the amount of, you know, of money that the land has. I mean, offers, whatever. So to us, it just doesn't make sense because we have too many students that are not going to be able to be going to just one school, but they're going to have to be spread into 2 schools. The dual immersion is going to be moved to a school that is going to be more than 1.5 miles away from the parents that have kids that live above the freeway. That is a huge distance. You know, particularly, I'm not planning to do that. You know, I will have to take my kid from the dual immersion program and leave him just in an English class just to keep him in Paramount. Another thing that I found is that if you guys are trying to get rid of school, I think that the best option is to get rid of a school that is in a cluster of schools. Mountain View is 1.5 miles away from Valleydale and 1.5 miles away from Hodge. So to me, the one that needs to get rid, that you can get rid of without affecting all of the students around, will be Paramount only. Because if you look at a map, those are the 2 schools that you can get rid of without affecting the community around. You know, also, you know, we have more students than Paramount. So if anything, we can absorb the students from Paramount if we were to get rid of the preschool in our school. So I have found ways to make it easy for the community and for the students. I mean, and as a parent, I have been looking for these things, and I have found many, many things to do. So I think that you guys, as the representatives of my kids, of the education of my kids, you should have all of this information too, not just me. So I would ask you to really look at all those things, you know, that I'm talking about right now.
That's time.
Thank you. Next we have Shawani Yunbavich. Please let me know how to pronounce your name.
Hi, my name is Shawani Yanvanich, and I'm a representative from Tamagaya International Meditation Center. on Magnolia Place. We're a Buddhist temple, but we also have an English meditation program called Peace Point Meditation. And our goal for that is spreading meditation at nonprofit for free. We don't charge for any of our classes. And so we offer outreach programs for your staff, if your staff is interested in having a workshop on how to learn meditation or how to implement meditation in your classroom. And we also have, we also offer classes for or a class for your student if you want to have a Buddhist monk to come in and teach, because all of our teachers are Buddhist monks. So they might be wearing orange, but they speak English and they'll be able to teach religion to any race, religion, belief, etc. For anyone who's interested to see what our program is about, tomorrow we have a full moon meditation. Unfortunately, it's going to rain tomorrow, so it's going to be indoors, but usually our full moon meditation are outdoors. So our full moon meditation is at 7:30 to 9 p.m. Usually like a $5 donation is requested, but if you want to observe, tomorrow is the day to go. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Juan Luis Reyes.
Can I speak Spanish again?
Sí, let's bring up the translator so she can translate for everyone else.
Okay.
And Kathy, can you just keep time because you have to give him a little extra time because of the translation. Thank you.
Primero quiero agradecer a Dios por permitirme estar aquí y a ustedes por permitirme hablar. Vengo representando a la Azusa, Escuela para Adultos, en Azusa.
I would like to say thank you to the board for listening to my comments. I'm here representing the Azusa Adult School.
Mis preguntas son sencillas. ¿Para dónde nos quieren mover? ¿Cuándo? ¿Cuántas clases va a haber ahí? ¿Por qué nos quieren mover de esta escuela? ¿Y qué va a pasar con la Sierra High School, que está ahí a un lado? También quiero hacer una pregunta personal. Sorry.
I have a few basic questions. My first question is, when will the adult school be moved? Where will we be moved to? How many classrooms will be afforded to the adult school? And I also have questions about parking and where will they be, or why are they closing the adult school?
La otra pregunta, la última, ¿qué va a pasar con nuestros maestros? Pues si los van a mover junto con nosotros. Para mí algo que quiero agregar.
And my final question is what will happen with the teachers? Will they be moved as well?
Porque para mí, pues, mi maestra es, yo le tengo mucha confianza a mi maestra, entonces sería muy difícil para mí alguien, maestro nuevo.
For me, I feel very comfortable with my teacher, and I wouldn't want to have a new teacher.
Okay, muchas gracias, es todo.
Gracias. Next, we have Joaquin Fesicio. Can you please pronounce your last name for me?
Hi, everyone. My name is Joaquin Fesicia.
Yeah.
Okay. I am one student. I need to translate, please. My English for the moment is very low. Just for the moment. Bueno, no quiero ser repetitivo y quiero incluir algo nuevo, aparte de lo que dijo recién mi compañero, que estuvo recién conmigo. Entendemos que muchas veces las escuelas tienen que cerrar por una cuestión económica.
I don't want to be repetitive. I just want to add to what my colleague has shared. I understand that sometimes schools have to be closed for economic reasons.
Pero también entendemos que el problema económico es simplemente momentáneo. porque a la larga siempre nos va a dar muchas riquezas. Y la educación es la principal herramienta que tiene este país, y por eso este país es tan grande, por su gente y porque principalmente mantiene las escuelas abiertas.
I understand that sometimes economic issues can be short-term, and one of the greatest gifts from this country is the opportunities for education.
Así que para finalizar, simplemente les hacemos como representante de todos mis compañeros, pedirles que por favor, si pueden mantener las escuelas, sería un gran favor que nos hacen a nosotros, a la comunidad y principalmente a este país. Gracias.
I just want to represent the other students. Our school is very important to us, and our education is important to us and important to this country as well.
And the last speaker I have a card for is Sonia. No last name.
Hello, my name is Sonia Hernandez, and I'm in 4th grade at Mountain View Elementary School. Today, I want to ask you, why do you want to close my school? I have 2 older siblings, my brother Fabian and my sister Vanessa. They went to Mountain View as well. They say it was an okay school when they went there. But now that Miss Lee came and changed my school, they even said that I'm lucky to have such an amazing school. Now that it is a good school with a lot of programs, why do you want to close it? Because I had a 3.3 GPA. Then when I took after-school classes, I had a 4-point GPA. I'm taking a typing class right now, and my brother says that he wishes he could have taken that class when he was my grade. Mountain View is not only a school, it is a family. Families are not meant to be broken. So do you really want to break our family? I have made so many friends here, and my mom has made friends here as well. Do you really want to split lifelong friends? Now that my school has a lot of programs and is high academic, you want to close it? Our school now has a lot of programs that other schools don't have. Why do you want to move? Why don't you move other schools to our school? We have enough space for other students, and we have such wonderful programs. So please just leave my school alone and in peace for everyone at Mountain View Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you, Sonia. So we're going to, we'll be getting to some of those questions and comments later on the agenda as we talk about during the agenda, during those items. So we'll continue with the current agenda, and the next item we have are comments and requests by the board. So we'll start with Adrian.
Yeah, hi, first, okay. First, just want to say, sorry guys. First, want to say congratulations. I'm honored to. I think Nellie are you here? Did she head out? Man, that absolutely incredible. We're proud of you, and then also Robert. Same thing, incredible. You are a shining example of just what this community is, and so we are proud of you. I'm proud of you. That's incredible. So please, like keep up the great work. Also, just want to report out. Last week, I was up in Sacramento, with some of the colleagues here on the school board, and also with other school board members from other communities. And we were there actually having conversations with legislators up in Sacramento to talk about some of the things that we're looking at here that addresses some issues around funding. And I know that there's some information that is on a slide that's coming up later that's going to give even more detail. but really for us as a community, I mean, these are things that we need to look at and address here, and we're looking at that today. But also on a state level, there are things for us to address, and so I'm hoping that we can all work together on some of those things. And then as far as comments that are shared, I do have, of course, some things to share, but I'll wait till we get to that portion of our meeting.
Thank you. Next, Yolanda.
Okay, good evening. I wanted to congratulate Nellie and Robert and also the winners of the test contest. I also went to the Azusa Glendora Seroptimus Dream It, Be It conference. Students from Azusa and Glendora High School joined together with workshops dealing with education, motivation, and following your dreams. Seroptimus organization did a great job. Today, I became a member of the Azusa Glendora Seroptimus, hopefully to be the conduit between AUSD and the Seroptimus Azusa Glendora. I went to Allington School, a parent meeting that had a great turnout with Smarter Balance Assessment, the SBAC Parents Resource, and LCAP Update. Principal Alexis Norman did a great job, and she had a lot of parents there. I went to the Azusa Chamber of Commerce Career Job Shadow Luncheon. High school students from Azusa AUSD high schools visit several businesses in the community for the day with Azusa PD, Azusa Light and Water, Azusa City Hall, learning about what a career is working in those departments. I would like to thank Azusa Chamber of Commerce Executive Director Steve Castro and his secretary Susan Vanderloop and for putting this event together. I went to Azusa High School, the Rotary Club, Azusa four-way ethics test. 3 students did a great job on their speeches, and Nellie was one of the students that was there. So I want to congratulate the winner. We're not supposed to mention the winner at this time, but I want to congratulate the person. Saturday, I went to the Saturday Academy at Azusa High School, and the students are doing gardening with Mr. Galvin. Students are playing drums, students are catching up with their homework. And I spoke to several students. They said some of them didn't even miss school. They just went there because they wanted to have fun and they wanted to either catch up with their homework or they wanted to garden or just do other things. Probably didn't want to be home, but anyways, there was a lot of students there, so I really think the Saturday School Academy is really working out for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for being here. I also would like to congratulate Nellie and Robert. I've seen Nellie before, and she's doing a wonderful job. And Robert, the East Coast is awesome. You get really good seafood. It's fun. And I also went to Legislative Action Day, and since Adrian has already explained, you know, we go there and we talk to our legislators, and we tell them the problems, such as this, that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, because basically there's a lack of funding from the state to the schools as compared to other states. So we are pushing for a full and fair funding. We would love to have your help. I've done this once before. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but we would love to have your help and work with us. So, you know, maybe sometimes we'll all go up there. I don't know. We'll see. Also, I'd like to ask a couple of questions on something that was raised last night about the baseball field over where National Little League used to be. Linda, could you find out how much we charge for the teams to play there?
Yes, we have that information, and we can provide it to you.
Okay, and how long have we been negotiating with them for the price?
Well, I'll get all that information for you. I know Adrian was a bit involved with it, and he might be able to share some things with you, too.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Gabriela?
Good evening, everyone. I want to share with you last weekend, I was able to go to a conference of Masters in Governance to learn policy and protocol for our district, and I actually learned quite a bit. I was able to go back to our previous minutes and be able to look at some of our policies. I also attended the Chamber of Commerce Shadow Day in partnership with Azusa Unified School District and the surrounding businesses. So I wanted to also thank Steve and Susie for that day to make it happen for our students. I wanted to congratulate the LCFF Test Kitchen. That's amazing. Like, for us to do these things and for, not to just take a leap and take that risk. So thank you for doing that and making Azusa shine. Nellie, she left, but congratulations. That is amazing. We have really good students in this district, and lucky for me, Robert, I looked at your name, but I had no idea who you really were, and I've known you since you were very, very little. And conociendo a tu mamá, desde que te tenía en embarazo, caminando a la escuela Magnolia, cuando yo trabajaba ahí, ahora te veo y veo que eres un excelente young man. I am so proud of you. Your parents, you're making your parents proud for doing this. You're totally making history. You should be so proud of yourself for doing this. And it's not easy. I know that. It's not easy getting this scholarship. You've worked hard. And we are so proud of you. I am so proud of you. Again, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear all the stories. No lo puedo creer y quiero escuchar todo lo que pasa. I want to know. I want to know when you graduate. Please come back. Come back to Azusa and let us know. So, congratulations again. And let's see. I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And for myself, I was also able to go up to Sacramento, and I just want to reinforce what Adrian and Jerry talked about. So when I was born in the 1970s, and when my mom and dad were going to schools in California, we were in the top 10 in funding schools across the nation, and our outcomes were in the top 10. And now we're in the bottom 10 in funding. And so I think as a district, we have to be responsible to make sure our budget is balanced, but we also have to make sure that the people who are giving us the money in Sacramento understand that they have to give us a fair playing field, and that means that they have to invest the money in our students in the amount of money that will produce the results that we want, because we want every student to have success and be like Nellie and be like, I'm forgetting it, Roberto, because that is a dream for my child. He's in preschool right now, and I think that's the dream for all of us. So I think this is something that will come up again with this board, and hopefully we can work with our community on how do we let Sacramento know that this is an important issue and it's affecting all of our lives. But as we move forward, we do go on with the day-to-day. So I really appreciate all of you being here. I especially want to say thank you, Sonia, for speaking. I know that it's, as a student, I think when I was your age, there's no way that I would have gotten up and spoken in front of a school board. So thank you very much for getting up and speaking today. So with that, we'll move on to the next section, and that is comments and requests by our student board member, cabinet, and superintendent. So we'll start with our student board member.
Thank you. For Azusa High School, we have March 19th, School Site Council at 3 p.m. March 22nd, Color Guard Tournament, Lakeside High School at 7 a.m. March 22nd, District Choral Festival, Azusa High School Gym, 6 p.m. through 7 p.m. March 23rd, SES and LEAP Beach Cleanup at 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. March 23rd, Band Boosters Menudo Cook-Off and Car Show, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. March 27th, SAT School Day, 10 a.m. through 3 p.m. March 30th, Softball Applebee's Pancake Breakfast, 8 a.m. through 11 a.m. April 9th, HIP Field Trip Northrop Grumman, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. April 10th, APU Trio Upward Bound Field Trip, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. April 11th, 10th grade PSATs, 8 a.m. to 2:50 p.m. April 11th, Citrus Early Decision, Citrus College, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. April 12th, 9th grade PSATs, 8 a.m. to 2:50 p.m. April 13th, Aztec Saturday Academy, 8 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. April 16th, NAF College Career Field Trip, 7:50 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Gladstone High School, March 19th through March 20th. WASC Acceleration Visit, March 20th, JROTC Junior Achievement, Ellington Elementary. March 20th, Visual and Performing Arts Field Trip, Citrus College. March 22nd, Achievers Senior Item Center Quad, 12:20 p.m. through 12:50 p.m. March 27th, Band Adjudicated Festival for Wind Assemble, Hacienda Heights. March 27th, SAT testing, various locations on campus, 7 a.m. through 2 p.m. March 29th, minimum day. April 6th, JROTC Raider Competition, Debs Park, Los Angeles, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. April 9th, HIP Program Field Trip, Northrop Grumman, 7:45 through 1:30 p.m. April 10th through the 11th, Grade PSAT, Gladstone High School Gym, 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. April 9th through the 12th, Grade PSAT, Gladstone High School Gym, 8 a.m. through 12:30 p.m. Sierra High School, March 20th, Citrus College Art Show Field Trip, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. March 26th, Parent Forum Suicide Prevention Parent Room, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. March 27th, SAT Testing Junior Classes, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. March 27th, Senior Field Trip California Science Center, 8:30 to 2:30 p.m.
Thank you. So we'll move on to the cabinet. And so we'll start with Jorge Ronquillo, Human Resources.
I'm going to pass.
And next we have Mark Bomarito
I am going to pass as well.
and Arturo Ortega
Likewise, thank you.
and Linda. And then Linda, I'm just going to ask you, we just read out a whole bunch of comments about school week testing on the SAT and PSAT. Can you talk a little bit about that in your comments, please?
Certainly. One of the things that we have done in this district to really help students prepare for college and think about college is to support them taking the PSAT test, which is a preliminary SAT test, and then the final test, the SAT test, so that they know where they are early on in their career. They actually start in 8th grade taking the PSAT. They take it 8th, 9th, 10th grade, so they can see their progress and their...
Do you mind speaking into the mic a little more so people can hear you in the back? I think it's a little low. Thank you.
Okay. Is this better?
Yeah, thank you.
What I was saying is the district has taken very seriously what it can do to help support our students be best prepared for college and careers and to see a future for themselves that they may not have ever dreamt about. One of those initiatives is to provide students for free at no cost the tests that are typically taken by students who are planning on going to college. And in our district, we're starting at 8th grade, where every single 8th grader can take what's called the PSAT, Preliminary SAT. That is a test that you take year after year that will show you how close are you to getting ready to be prepared to function at a college level, to be admitted and successful at college. In 11th grade, they take the real SAT, which colleges use for making admissions decisions. And every student can take that. And the idea behind that is for students to monitor their performance and to think early on in their high school career, what am I doing to get ready? How close am I? And that I can see progress. And can I ask you, did you take any of these tests?
Yes, I did take it 8th through 10th grade.
You have? Okay.
Yeah. And it's a huge advantage for students to know this information. And the earlier students really start thinking and measuring their progress, the better. Because if they see a gap area, they can start addressing it. If they're seeing something that they're moving forward very well on, they can realize that they do have the skills and they do have the talent to attend a university. So that's a huge benefit to our students. And we see it paying off. In 2012, our high school graduates were selected by only 26 universities. Last year it was 75. So our students are being recognized by universities from the East Coast to the West Coast, as we heard tonight. And the universities are telling us, we have confidence in what your students are doing. We know they're prepared to be successful, and we're going to take them, which is wonderful. So I'm happy for them. The other thing I briefly wanted to say is I wanted to thank the families, the parents, and some staff members who came to the recent meetings that we had, one at Mountain View and one at Gladstone Street School, to listen to their concerns, to try to answer questions that they might have. And in our presentation tonight, we've incorporated a lot of the questions and the answers so that people know that we are trying to get the information to them and make sure that all, whatever happens, decisions are fully informed. And I appreciate them coming out at night. A number of them brought their little kids with them. I saw some little kids who had fallen asleep by the end of it, so I know it was a sacrifice for many of the folks to come, but I do appreciate it.
Thank you. Moving on, we'll have report of an action of closed session items. So we'll start with item 9.1, and I need to report out that the Board of Education voted in executive session 5-0 to settle case BC 672255. The settlement terms are as listed in the settlement agreement dated February 1, 2019. Moving on to the next item, we have item 9.2, student matter. Item student number 1819-0137. What are the wishes of the board?
I make a motion to approve 9.2.
Second.
There's a motion by Yolanda Rodriguez Peña, second by Adrian Greer. Any discussion? Seeing none, please place your vote. Moving on, item passes 5-0. Moving on, we have item 10.1, approve the declaration declaring the week of April 9th through the 13th, 2019 as Adult Education Week, Resolution 1819-121. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Gabriela Arellanes, second by Jerry Bibles Vogel. Any discussion?
Yes, I would like to reassure the two gentlemen that spoke from the Adult Education Program that the program is being moved in its entirety, but it is not being closed. Nomás quería explicar a los señores que hablaron con nosotros que el programa de educación para adultos no va a estar cerrado, sino nomás cambiado a otro sitio, con todos los maestros y todos los estudiantes.
All right, thank you. What is a student preferential vote?
Yes.
Okay, please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, we have item 10.2, consideration of school closures, relocation, and consolidation. So we're going to have a presentation at this point. Superintendent Mark Bomarito.
It works. It looks like it's bigger than full screen. You can't open it with a PDF reader. Or download it.
And the PowerPoint is available on our website where our board agenda is. It will be available now and into the future.
Good evening, Board. Sorry about that. So tonight we're here to present the options for school closure and look at some of the changes that would come along with that. The reasons why we're looking at school closure is the change, primarily, is the change in enrollment. In 2002, 2003, we had over 12,000 kids. And this year, we have just over 8,000 kids, with projected enrollment to continue to decline in the next couple of years to just over 7,000 kids. Students is how we earn our money in school districts. We receive roughly $11,000 per student in Azusa, and as we're losing enrollment, and as we've hit full funding for LCFF, our revenue will continue to decline. And that means less money for the same kids that we have, or the same staffing that we have now. What does that mean? The district is going to be required to make reductions for the next 3 years to maintain solvency. Next school year, we're going to have to cut nearly $3 million. The following year, we're going to have to cut over $2 million. And then in 21-22, we're going to have to cut $500,000. There was a PAC Plus committee, which is a parent advisory committee that also has administrators, teachers, and classified bargaining members. They came together and came with a list of recommendations. And the top recommendation that they provided was to close 2 schools. That recommendation went to the board. The board moved forward with looking and exploring what that would mean for Azusa Unified. And that meant the first step was to start a surplus property committee. The Surplus Property Committee met over many meetings, considered many data points, parent input, and they came with 3 recommendations, which were to close Sierra Adult Ed Complex, Mountain View Elementary, and Magnolia Elementary. That was their 3 recommendations. That report was brought back to the board and presented and was accepted as a report. And those recommendations were accepted for review. The board is being presented tonight, as we've discussed in the last couple of meetings leading up to this, what closure, relocation, and consolidation would look like for Azusa. The first school to consider closing is Sierra Adult Ed campus, and relocating the programs and the Adult Ed and Sierra to Gladstone Street Elementary. The reason why we recommend that location is it is the largest site besides our high schools, and it's twice as large as their current site. It has enough rooms to offer for Sierra and Adult Ed, so it's one of our elementaries with the highest number of classrooms. It has a very large cafeteria that we've done many of our celebrations in. It has a kitchen. It has an outdoor eating area. It's a modernized site. And it has potential for parking for the Adult Ed Center. It also is on a major street, which provides easy transportation for our Sierra and Adult Ed students. Next is the impact to the Gladstone Street students. What would be the closest locations for those students to attend? The closest 2 schools are Magnolia and Murray. For many of the students that are going to Gladstone Street, Magnolia and Murray are within walking distance still, because all three of those schools are very close to each other. Many of the students that are attending Gladstone Street are already living in Magnolia and Murray's boundaries. It's going to assist at Magnolia and Murray by increasing the staffing at that site, which will reduce the number of combo classes. It will allow teachers to have larger numbers in each grade level, which will allow them to plan together as a PLC, which is a professional learning community, when they work together around a common theme, like a grade level. Up on the screen is the current boundaries for Gladstone Street and surrounding schools. If you notice, there's much of the dark green area is next to Murray and Magnolia. And much of it would be closer to one of those two schools. There is some students that live behind Gladstone Street that would have a longer distance. This would be the proposed new boundaries, moving Magnolia to cover the areas to the left of Magnolia and the areas south of Magnolia. And then Clifford Murray would absorb the areas in between Gladstone Street and Murray. The next school recommendation is to close Mountain View Elementary and have it consolidated with Paramount and Valleydale. The closest school to Mountain View is Paramount, which is where we would relocate the English program. Mountain View, in comparison to those schools, doesn't have the same level of security as Paramount and Valleydale. We only have dual immersion currently in the north portion of the district. So one benefit of this would be to add a dual immersion program to the south part of the district. And just like Gladstone Street, it would increase the PLC, or the ability for teachers to plan together in grade level teams, being that there would be more than one person per grade level. One of the other reasons is the alternate use of Mountain View. It's in or near a industrial area, which could provide it for alternate use to options for business or other uses. So it is next to the freeway for easy access for some type of alternate use. This is the current boundary map, which Mountain View is in the light blue color and goes above and below the 210 freeway. And Paramount is that kind of fuchsia pink color. And the shift would be to really convert it just to a Paramount boundary. So all of it would become Paramount, and then any of the kids that are in the dual immersion program would be going to Valleydale, because that's where the program would be. And of course, anyone who wanted dual immersion in the south portion of the district would be encouraged to attend Valleydale for the dual immersion program. To summarize kind of the meetings that we had with parents at Mountain View and at Gladstone Street, we put together a question and answer. So I'll go over that. So we have a kind of documented piece for what we looked at with the parents and exploring some of the questions that were out there. So one of the big questions was, can we can the programs, can the things that make Mountain View, Gladstone Street, amazing schools, can those move to the new schools? And so the answer is definitely yes. Examples of that are the reading programs. They're the same programs that we have. The No Excuses University that's at Mountain View. Both Paramount and Valleydale have applications in. They're working on getting their schools to be no excuse universities as well. The Reading Roads program is a strong program, and it's going to be available at the other sites. So definitely the same great programs are going to be available at the new school, and even more powerful because you're going to have more student participation and more teachers. Will class size increase? This was a very common question. The simple answer is no. Class sizes will still remain capped at the agreed upon ratios that we have with the teachers union. So it will not go to a different cap. The teachers that are at Mountain View, that are Gladstone Street, they will follow the students, and those caps will not change. So what are we going to do to determine placement? How will my student be taken care of if the principal doesn't know them? So we're working with our principals that are affected, so either the sending or receiving schools, the teachers that we'll be going with. They will be meeting with parents, with students. They will be communicating those recommendations to the new schools, so that way every kid has that recommendation. If parents would like the option to put in a recommendation for a teacher, the schools do have that available through a form that they can request a particular teacher, just like many of our schools do. So, why are students being sent to two different schools? Even though our schools are very under-enrolled, so we have 30-40% of our classrooms unused, they're not 50 or 60% unused. So we have to have the kids split between two sites, so that way we can still have the alternate classrooms for intervention rooms, resource rooms, parent rooms available for us to conduct business as we've been. So it's important that we do have some division, so that way we can have the great programs that we have, and we're not using every single classroom purely for instruction. Can we visit schools? So this one is definitely the principals all made a point of saying they are available for parents to set up a personal visit. And we also have these dates that are available for folks to come in groups and do kind of group tours or coffee with a principal, or to see the carnival, so you can kind of see the atmosphere of the school. If you're interested in going into another site, maybe Dalton STEM program, you're interested in going into PAL's Visual Performing Arts program, those principals are also waiting for you to call and set up a visit. They'll be happy for parents to come and set up a meeting, so that way they can get a tour of the campus. Where is dual immersion in the district? So Spanish dual immersion is currently offered at Hodge, and next year will be offered at Valleydale. We're working on creating a Mandarin program that will be offered at Dalton. So we're in the hiring process and trying to get that off the ground. For special education students, what are some things or some of the questions that were asked is, will there be an IEP that will be held to discuss placement? The answer is yes. If this is a emotional impact on students, will counseling services be provided? The answer is yes. Will there be opportunities for kids to get kind of integrated into the systems and be comfortable? Definitely yes. All the principals have said they're going to have welcome meetings, kind of meet and greets for both parents and students to start the school year off, so that way everyone has a chance to kind of get integrated at the beginning of the year. Will students be able to attend Think Together? So a lot of concern because Think Together is one of our amazing programs. The seats that are currently at Mountain View and Gladstone Street will move with the student population that moves to each one of the sites. So if it becomes a 60-40 split, then 60% of the seats will go to School A and 40 will go to School B. We don't anticipate any issues with enrollment. So we've had seats available this year, and we don't anticipate that changing next year. Will transportation be provided?
Mark,
yes.
Could you actually go back? So looking at that on the other point, the second bullet point on there, it talks about current Think Together students will submit the priority application and pay the processing fee to remain in Think Together. Just to clarify, this is a new processing fee, or this is the same?
This is the same processing fee that is happening this year, correct.
So there would be no additional?
There's no additional. It's the same process that's happening this year. There's a application fee that parents pay. It will continue next year. There'll be nothing changed other than there'll be seats available at their new school in addition to what's there. We're not, as a district, losing any seats. Will transportation be provided? So currently students who have transportation in their IEPs, those students will be transported as specified in the IEP. And the district is also looking at additional transportation options for students that may be impacted due to a longer distance between school sites. But we're just exploring it because it is something that we really need to weigh with the cost. What is the priority enrollment system that we've discussed? So parents from Gladstone and Mountain View would have the ability to get in the front of the line for open enrollment. So if they want to go to a school that's not their new home school, then they would fill out the application, and then they would be able to attend an alternate school. So that way, if they're interested in going to Hodge, Dalton, Murray, whichever school, then they could fill out the application, and then they would be in the front of the line for any school. Applications would be available starting tomorrow if this was approved, and then they will be due by April 12th. And obviously, the sooner you get your application in, the better, because if there is any issues, we would want to kind of rank them by receive date if all other pieces were equal. And then we would work to have everyone, all the teachers know by May 14th where their location would be. So that's why it's important for us to know the options that our students are choosing so we could staff each one of the schools appropriately. Can students transfer out of the district or to a different district? So Azusa works with the surrounding districts, and there's agreed upon procedures to handle transfers, and that process would not change. So we would continue to work with our other districts, but it is limited to particular reasons why folks would leave, and I'm sure the board would like all of our students to stay because we know that we have the best programs and the best options for our kids. And we would like to convince all our folks, and we'll do what we can to make them see what they would be leaving in Azusa. What will happen to the staff and the teachers at each one of the sites that's being closed? So, as Linda clarified before, the adult ed Sierra programs, those are really being transplanted, right? So the entire site is shifting over. So all that staff simply picks up and has their class in a different location. The other sites, so Gladstone Street and Mountain View, the teachers and staff will move with the students, and we're working with our unions to finalize exactly what that will look like, because there will be different staffing configurations to some degree at each one of the receiving sites. And our union partners are working to finalize that within the next couple of weeks. How will school property be used? So this is really the next question after the board makes this decision. If they decide to close sites, then we need to look at what our options are with the surplus property that we have. The property needs to be evaluated for two pieces, whether we sell the property or whether we lease the property. And to determine that, we'll look at appraisal price to see what our pricing points are for sale and lease, and look at the long-term impacts that a sale would have, being that it's a final decision. If we sell, we're not getting the property back likely. And if we lease, then obviously we can change our mind and end the lease at the term date and have the property back if there was a need in the future. But we have not started exploring that with the board or very much internally, and we're waiting for this process to be decided. How can parents help improve the budget? This one I actually really appreciate as the budget guy. So number one, we really view that education is an investment in our future, and it's hard to turn education into dollars, and that's really what school districts are being forced to do in these troubling times in California. California has slightly increased funding, but that's only got us to 41 out of the 50 states for per pupil funding, which is willfully inadequate. Our state only provides about $10,000 per student. Other states on the East Coast are providing over $20,000 per student. When you have twice as many dollars per kid, you can reduce class size. You can do amazing things with those dollars and with our kids' educational investment. So the state needs to look at options to redirect funding to education. I know that there's several proposals out there to look at ways in which we could provide education as a top priority. And I'm definitely in support of our Senate and our Assembly looking at those options. What parents can do now is contact their legislators. Make it known that you do value education as priority one, so that way our schools across the state, not just in Azusa, but can be funded properly, so we don't have to face budget crisis, and we're making decisions about how to invest our dollars rather than how we can cut from our investment. That is my last question.
All right, thank you. So I'll turn to the board, and if you have any other questions or comments, now would be the time.
Environment, and I'm sorry. But as far as this goes, until we get more funding, and you contact Susan Rubio, Senator Susan Rubio, or Assemblywoman Blanca Rubio, and tell them your problems. Tell them, I want more funding for our schools because this has affected me. Your choice to take money from the school district has affected my child. And we need to fix that. And that's what we're pushing for as a group here. So please reach out to them and do that. Please, at least you feel as though you've done something. And push on them. Give them a good push. I had one, could we publish a contact info for Blanca and Susan Rubio, please,
Absolutely.
for our parents so that they can reach out to them? Alrighty, and we are doing what we can for the best of our children, and we want to work with you. And I actually appreciate the fact I've seen angry parents before. You guys are pretty, and I went to the 7-Eleven committees, all of them. So I saw all y'all there. And, you know, that's your heart. That's your heart. They're your children, and we know that. So we want to work with you and make this as best as we can. It breaks our heart as well. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So I know that we had the two meetings that took place at Mountain View and at Gladstone Street. And real quick, just as a sidebar, Linda, I do want to say specifically to you, thank you for being available at the Mountain View meeting, because I know on that meeting in particular, as we were conversing through the day, that you were homesick, and you came to be a part of that meeting. And we appreciate that. Thank you for making yourself available.
Thank you very much. I really felt that we had to show parents that we were listening, that we were caring about them.
Thank you. Couple other things that I did have, kind of some questions that I wanted to make sure were addressed in the interim. So one was that with meetings. The other one was as far as more specific timeline. And so I do see on the slide here that we have a timeline. Is there anything else that's a more fleshed out timeline that we have to disseminate?
We do have a flyer that has some updated information on timelines for folks, and depending on what happens tonight and what the decisions are, we'll continue to add information. The one thing I did want to share with the parents whose students might be going to Murray and Magnolia is that they may have seen that Valleydale and Paramount are going to have a spring carnival that they're invited to. Turns out that the other two schools had a fall carnival. So that's the only difference between reaching out and inviting parents and students. It was just a timeline for the schools.
So can I just add to that question? So in terms of the, are you making clear on whatever you're sharing with families that we're intending on doing this on a first come first served basis? If people are looking at other school sites besides their local attendance site, how are you doing that?
The nature of the regular open enrollment is based on space availability. And so that is part of the information that's sent to them. So far, we've been able to meet request, and hopefully that will continue. We'll be able to do that, but it's always based on space availability.
I just want to make sure that it's clarified so that's clear.
Yeah.
And then the other
It
question.
does say that on the application.
Okay. And then the other question I have for you is because you have spring break right in the middle of when this is happening. So how are we planning on ensuring that there's good communication?
Well, communication will go out tomorrow if this is passed by the board, so that families will get an individual letter to them. We'll do all calls. We'll do a variety of different things, including Facebook postings, etc. and send out various reminders as deadlines approach so that people know what's coming and what the updates are.
Okay, thanks. All right, Adrian, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Also, are you able to speak to kind of where we stand as far as the formation or planning with the transition team?
Yes, we have a transition team established already. They had a meeting this week. The team includes the principal, the representative of the teachers, a representative for the classified staff, and a parent to come together and talk. And we have it for all 6 schools involved, so the receiving schools as well as the sending schools. We had a very productive first meeting. It was open to whatever ideas people had kind of generally at their own site that they thought would help with transition. And then we rearranged ourselves according to job alike. So all the classified staff got together, shared what they had all done at their site or what their ideas were at their site, and presented recommendations. And so did the teaching group, so did the administrative group, so did the parent group. And all those were, all those information items, or rather ideas, suggestions, were collected and displayed on some large charts, and then grouped according to themes, grouped to, maybe it was an issue, a question about programs, or a question about staffing, or whatever it was. All that information is being prepared to give back to this group at our next meeting, and then to continue to refine. And at the next meeting, again, we'll start this time we'll group folks by their strands. So 1 receiving school and 2 sending school, or rather 2 sending schools and 1 receiving group, so that they now can talk as a group about what works well, so that in particular there's that communication building, but also so that people have access to the same supports and strategies and approaches, so that schools are balanced in what they do, and that parents feel that they've had a chance to weigh in, staff has had a chance to weigh in, teachers have had a chance to weigh in, so that everybody is heard and that their ideas are being taken seriously and discussed seriously for implementation.
And so maybe adding on to that's helpful, because Mark, one of the things you talked about a lot of the educational programs and components that we have, and that those would move over. I'm curious to know about some of those other things that make the schools beautiful, as you mentioned, some of the things that make up the school culture. So I'm thinking about things like jump rope for heart. I'm thinking about things like My Sister's Closet. Some of those things. Can you speak to the feasibility of those?
Right. Those things like jump rope for the heart happen all across the district and have for many, many years. One of the things that we invited the principals of the receiving school to the appropriate meeting, Mountain View or Gladstone. And so we had the receiving school and we had the 2 sending school principals there so that they could talk. And as parents asked particular questions about particular programs, they were able to give information about how that happens at their school. But the other thing that they shared is that they really want the ideas. They want to bring in new programs. And part of it is to build and continue to grow into great activities and programs for kids. Also, it's also done in recognition of the fact that, yes, all of our schools are really good, and we want the ideas from, for example, Gladstone Street or Mountain View, because it's only going to make us more effective and a richer experience for our students.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Yeah. Go ahead.
Right after this?
Well, there's no motion on the table yet, so we're just still discussing this.
Okay.
So,
do I wait to?
No, you can do it now.
Okay. This is just a comment that I want to make. Last year, when I attended the meetings, the 7-11 meetings, when I attended all these meetings and all this was discussed, one of the things that was a concern to me was the lack of communication and transparency. And so I do want to let you know that this time around, being able to be educated on the fiscal responsibility and being able to see it, what perhaps we all share with this decision in closing 2 schools is the uncertainty. How can we strive for the certainty of our need, safety, security, to address the issues on how the change will affect all of us? We need clarity, assurances, so that we can put our fears to rest and feel that we will be heard and safe, that we will be safe and be okay in spite of the upcoming change. We, as a community, need to make sure we address the concerns that may arise and be solution-focused for the greater good of all the new school communities. I ask that we involve the families in the change process, listening to their ideas and needs, making them part of this journey. Families, you're probably asking what's in it for you. That is a valid question. With change comes opportunity. Without change, there'd be no improvements. We need to do things differently to make improvements at AUSD, to ensure the opportunity for growth and strength within the new school communities. Change prompts progress and new beginnings. Remember, if there were no change, there would be no metamorphosis. As a Gladstone Eagle myself, this hits close to home. The decision for this change is difficult for all of us, but it reminds me of a story of transformation and determination. The story that I would like to share is about the eagle's extraordinary power to make a hard decision of change. I don't know if you guys know, but the eagle has to go through a transformation. And first, it has to knock off its beak and beat it against the rock, and then its talons. And after it grows its beak back, it starts plucking away its feathers. After going through all this process of change for several months, the eagle takes its famous flight of rebirth with its new characteristics. I humbly ask you to connect with me in this process of change. It is a difficult decision for all of us on this diocese, but we need to work together and strengthen the process. We're with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabby. Anybody else want to say anything? No? Okay, well, before I ask for a motion, I just want to add something, although I think, Gabby, I really appreciate your comments. I mean, I think this is difficult for everybody, and I'm not going to pretend like I can sit in your seat and know what that feels like, because I can't, because I'm not in your seat, and I'm not, and so I think moving forward, I appreciate your comments about transparency and continuing to work with our community, because I think that at our core that's the most important thing, and that means working with the parents, working with our staff, and working with the greater community, and making sure that we can be as accommodating as possible. We're going in a clear direction. I personally am torn. I think last year I made it very clear that I don't feel comfortable with school closures, but I think that we're just at a time and place now where we don't have choices. And so, Mark, I have one more question for you, Mark, in terms of looking at our budget, right? So this, if we close 2 schools, we save approximately how much annually? It's about
$500,000 per
each,
school.
so it's like $1 million.
Yeah.
So looking at the numbers that you had at the beginning, right? We have to cut $2.4 million by the end of the school year. Right? So, like at this point, where are those cuts going to be coming from?
The remaining cuts. So we're going to have to still have hard conversation and look at some of the programs and systems that we have to make up some of the remaining dollars. We're going to look at extra hours, overtime, to see what we can reduce in that area. But yes, there is still difficult decisions to make on top of reducing by the $1 million here. And we'll be bringing those to you as we get closer to the budget.
Okay, thank you. And so those are the realities that we're facing. And I mean, there are no good choices. And I wish that there were. I wish that there were. So with that, are there any more comments from the board?
Yes, I will state my rationale. I have heard and read concerns regarding the school closures. Believe me, I have did my research, I read my emails, I've spoken to parents, and I've spoken to employees. And I do care about students and staff. I retired 40 years in education as a classified employee. I have 4 children and 4 grandchildren. And I do attend most all the events throughout the schools, school sites, parent meetings, special events, and I visit the adult school and also this Sierra Model Continuation School. The fact still remains, we need to cut $5.6 million within the next 3 years. Enrollment is declining not only in AUSD but throughout California. That's why there has been many school closures throughout the San Gabriel Valley. Recommendations of the PAC Plus, which consists of 2 parents representatives from each school site, DLAC, administration, union members, 7-Eleven committee, they also did the research regarding budget cuts. Then they brought the recommendation to us. Besides the raising costs of the employee benefits, we also have additional fees with books, school supplies, operating costs, besides having to keep a 3% reserve. If we do not combine our schools, we run the risk of an outside agency taking over our district. This decision isn't easy for me. I do not take it lightly. One of the items on my platform was to hold Azusa Unified School District fiscally solvent. Classes will not be overcrowded. We have to meet a certain enrollment per class with agreement between the teachers and the union and the district. The ratio is kindergarten to 2nd grade, 21-1. Grade 3 to 5, 35-1. We have increased the funding at school sites if we would not have to maintain the ones that are not in operation, but we will focus on the schools that are in session. Less combo classes, teachers will be able to teach more effectively. I would like to see bus service if it's financially feasible. That's what I am requesting. I know Mountain View has many great programs and Gladstone Street. Who's to say that they cannot have an environmental club or the No Excuse University or Jump Rope for Heart at any other school sites? I'm a commissioner for the LA County on the Citizens Economic Efficiency Commission, appointed by Supervisor Hilda Solis to hold, and I represent the unincorporated area of Azusa. I have asked her office to hold a town meeting regarding your concerns. They will be holding a meeting in mid-April at Valleydale Park, with representatives from the supervisor's office, the sheriff's station, and other departments. So you will be notified, or if you have any questions prior, you can contact me. My email is on the website. I have asked for total transparency from our administration to the parents and the staff. I feel it's our right to accommodate you. We would like to make the transition as easy as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Adrian?
Yeah. Just reiterating a lot of what my colleagues here are saying, that this is not a decision that is made lightly. Not only have there been parent groups and PAC Plus and so many different areas of recommendation, there's been so much information that has been shared, and the amount of additional information that I have sought, and I know that my colleagues have sought as well, to hear the different perspectives. I've read every email. I've read every letter. And there's dynamic perspective. And then when it's all said and done, there is an incredible responsibility that the board has to, one, ensure fiscal responsibility, but two, also make sure that all of those perspectives, all of those ideas, all that information, all of the data is kind of put into play, and a decision is being made. And again, it is not an easy one, but I think I'm in agreement that we're limited with choice, and so I'm only seeing one way forward from my perspective. Yeah, I do have some current concerns or issues. Looking at wanting to make sure that we're able to work and connect directly with you parents, and with others, with teachers, staff within the community, for you guys to help to make sure that it is as smooth of a transition as possible. Also, I think it's on us. I agree, Yolanda. What does it look like for us to really not just look at options for transportation or busing for some of our students that are walking a little bit further, but quite seriously consider what those options look like, and even understanding that it may come at a cost, but a worthwhile cost for us to look at. And so with that being said, yeah, I mean, same. Me as somebody who loves Mountain View. Me as somebody who I went there, my family went there, and I love the school, and I've been able to visit and see the incredible things. And the difficult task that I have is needing to suspend that to look at all of the information and all of the data. And I am in support of moving forward with this proposal.
All right, so if there are no more comments, we'll move on to the next item, which is the actual action item. So we'll wait till Kathy pulls up the item. And so we have item 10.3, approve resolution 1819-124, closure of the Sierra High School campus project, finding the closure of the Sierra High School campus exempt from CEQA, approving the project, and authorizing the filing of a notice of exemption. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve 10.3.
Go ahead.
There's a motion by Yolanda Rodriguez Peña, a second by Adrian Greer. Any more discussion? Okay, seeing none, please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to item 10.4, we have approved resolution 1819-125, closure of Mountain View Elementary School project, finding the closure of Mountain View Elementary School exempt from CEQA, approving the project, and authorizing the filing of a notice of exemption. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
There's a motion by Jerry Bibles Vogel, second by Gabriela Arellanes. Any discussion? Please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0.
I'm not supposed to speak, but I don't understand why you guys want to send the students to Valleydale. As of right now, there's 2 suspects being searched around Valleydale.
So
how much endangerment there is around them? Have you guys considered that Mountain View has been there more than 70 years? Our grandparents, our uncles, everybody's different. I don't understand why you guys are closing this amazing school to put them in other schools that don't even have space right now.
So I appreciate.
I'm trying to transfer my students, and they don't have space. So how are you guys going to create that space? You guys are going to waste money to make more classrooms for them?
Thank you for your input. So I thank you.
I'm just saying it because it's right now in the Sousa's news. I will not take.
So So we're gonna take a brief recess right now. We'll take a brief recess from the meeting, and we'll reconvene in 5 minutes.
I just want to say something. My sons are going to Paramount, and that school needs a lot of work done. A lot of work done. There is no room for think together. So you guys are going to close Mountain View, money on a school to modernize it when Mountain View's already done. I don't get it. That is ridiculous.
Whatever you want, but I don't know if you can get all the way back there. So you probably have to.
You know, this is like, this is sucks because you guys are not even trying to listen. You guys are not even trying to listen to us. Like, you guys call yourself a great school board? That's not correct. You guys can't even make your own budget correct? Like, that's incorrect. You guys see how dangerous it is right now? And you guys want to transfer our students over there? That's horrible. That is horrible. I'm already having difficulties making sure that my son's safe from over there. You guys want to transfer my child there? That's not correct. That is horrible. We're going to have to be thinking in the back of our minds that our children are safe there? That's not correct. You guys don't even take us in consideration. You guys don't care about us. You guys don't care about our opinion. You guys care more about your paychecks than about us, about our children. And that's what it looks like. Expect you to hide behind a response to me or my husband calling my husband. Why don't we have 16,000? 16,000. 90,000. I'm the parent that will stand up for me. That's what you said. Those are your words. People aren't having See ya. Oh, you're welcome. And you guys want to close down the historical.
Thank you. Get the kids home bright and early tomorrow. I got a grassroots meeting tomorrow. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So we'll be starting the program elementary this year. So my goal is to open it for everybody. Not just Hispanic, but all languages.
It's more than a mile and a half.
Fun. Be fun. All right. Good job on presentation. I loved it. Good. Good. Let's do an info commercial. You know, I was telling Dr. Norman the other day when we were talking about that. He said, you know, for me, if Ellington had to close, I wouldn't be so heartbroken just because in my area, if you really look at it, we don't have most of those students. I don't know. Play with.
No, there's nobody.
She's the last Ellington student.
Yeah.
Basically.
Besides one of my friends,
So there's
a couple of my friends that live.
Because we are a KV. What happened? I would just love to go to the other. I'm just like that person to see what. Let me pick your choir. What's the choir program? The fourth grade choir? You guys gonna have to come. I talked Michael Adams into doing a spring concert with band. That'd be awesome. Yeah, they did it for winter concert. They sang. Now, if we could get the choir to sing with the band, that would be perfect.
Why are they both over there? There was a purpose. Yeah. You need to let them know. You know what? This is why you took a break to clear the air. Now you just got them over there to do this.
All right, I'm gonna ask the board to come back to the dais.
He shouldn't have did that.
At the door and doing the dance, and I'm like, okay, give up.
For this?
Hello.
Okay, we're going to reconvene the meeting at this point. Move on to the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by the board in one motion unless someone wishes to pull something from the consent calendar. Does anybody wish to pull any items from the consent calendar? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve 11.1.
Second.
There's a motion by Yolanda Rodriguez-Peña, second by Adrian Greer to approve the consent calendar. Any discussion? What is the student preferential vote?
Yes.
Please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, we have item 13.1, consider ratification of consultant Judy McGeehee consultant agreement. Is there a motion? Is there a second?
A second.
Motion by Jerry Bibas Vogel, second by Gabriela Arellanes. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question on why we're hiring a consultant for the supervision when we should have supervision here, right? Do we not have enough mental health MFTs, MSWs, PsyDs with degrees here that are supervisors, directors?
We did have one person who resigned from the district a while ago. So we have needed to replace that person. We have not yet found another person to pick that up. So this is coverage in the interim, since we do have to have somebody who has the appropriate licensure.
Okay.
We did have one person, that person left the district, and until we are able to hire another person, until we get somebody with appropriate credentials, we still have to provide the service. So that's why this person is being selected, to help out while we're in that process.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, what is the student preferential vote?
Yes.
All right, please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, we have item 14.1, approve the acknowledging Prop 51 Bond Authority Insufficiency Resolution 1819-123.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
So motion by Jerry Vogel, second by Adrian Greer. Any discussion?
Can you please explain that, Dr. Kaminsky?
I think I'll turn to the budget expert here. Hey, Mark, can you explain that to us?
Sure. So the amount of money that the state has set aside for under Prop 51 has all been called for. So there's applications in the pipeline that call for all of those dollars.
Mark, can you explain what those
Yeah.
funds are for?
So all of those dollars are for facility construction. And so the school facilities program at the state level helps school districts to do things similar to what we're doing under our local bond. Like the front of the school at Gladstone, the underground utility projects. And so all of those dollars have been called for. But we know there's future dollars in the pipeline, and this resolution allows us to get in line for any future dollars that may come. So we'll continue to submit applications, and those applications will be handled as kind of in line. And so we're in line for any future dollars that get put in, like the Prop 51 dollars.
So Mark, how much right now? How much have we submitted for reimbursement for the projects that we've already completed? You texted me this information last week. It's around 14 million.
Okay.
And then do you remember once we complete the entire 90 some million dollar bond project, all of the proposed modernization pieces, how much will we be eligible for matching funds?
We should have roughly $25 million
Okay.
of matching funds. But of course, it'll be handled in line. And kind of the exciting news is we're getting back and forth with the state about every week with our applications. So that means that they're looking at them, they're reviewing them, we're moving to the next level. So early next year, hopefully, we may actually see some of our first dollars come in.
Okay.
And if I can add, one of the promising approaches of our new governor is that he is willing, that amount of money that's available statewide, he's willing to start selling the bonds little by little at a much faster rate than our former governor, which is why they've run out. Because, do you remember, Mark, how much the total statewide funds were?
I don't.
So right now, submitted for people who've already submitted, there's around $4 billion in terms of projects already waiting in line.
Right, and what I was trying to determine is what the total amount is available. And
so right now, you're talking about how much the governor's releasing. It's 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
And so, if he goes in the timeline that he has right now, it'll take 3 years for them just to reimburse the projects that are already in line and already have been approved.
And that's why it's so good that we got in line, because we're on that list.
Right. So the other thing that I would say is that in 2020, the legislature is probably going to propose to put on another school bond on the state ballot, and they're also looking to do another one in 2022. So I think it's in our best interest that those pass as well, so we can actually get refunded the money that we're owed, deserve. So. Okay, so with all of those, any other questions? Okay. Student preferential vote?
Yes.
Please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, we have item 14.2, approve contract with Mobile Ed Productions Incorporated. Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Adrian Greer, second by Yolanda Rodriguez Peña. Any discussion? Student preferential vote?
Yes.
Please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on to item 14.3, ratification of contract with Best Way Sandwiches Incorporated, doing business as DBA Fresh Start Meals Incorporated. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jerry Vogel, second by Gabriela Arellanes. Any discussion? Seeing none, what is the student preferential vote?
Yes.
Place your votes, please. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, we have item 14.4, approval of authorizing application to the Director of Industrial Relations, State of California, for a certification to consent to self-insure workers' compensation liabilities, Resolution 1819-126. Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by Gabriel Ariane, second by Yolanda Rodriguez Peña. Any discussion?
Just to clarify, so this is for us to self-insure and move away from the collective?
So it's to continue. So right now we're in between two work comp systems. We're under the San Gabriel Valley JPA for work comp for all of our claims that are before 1819, and starting 1819 we're with ASCIP. And so we were on a kind of temporary application with the state where we're in the transition, and this will move us for ASCIP into our actual self-insurance application. And so we had to do kind of a interim option until now to get us started, I guess, until ASCIP fully got us on board, and this will make us official with the state.
So the question I was going to ask, so how is this is temporary or this is ongoing? This is at
This
least
is
for the
ongoing.
This is not for the pre-existing claims before we joined ASCIP.
No, this is for the ongoing claims with ASCIP.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any other questions? What is the student preferential vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Please place your votes. Motion passes 5-0. Moving on, we have policies and bylaws. We have the first reading of quite a few bylaws, administrative regulations, and exhibits. We have administrative regulation related to personnel, employee drug testing, and new and deleted board policy and deleted administrative regulation on professional leaves, new administrative regulation on family care and medical leave, new board policy and administrative regulation on catastrophic leave program. We have employee drug testing, employee references, deletion of maintenance of criminal offender records, deleted exhibit of maintenance of criminal offender records sample, employee statement form use of criminal justice information, deleted administrative regulation of employee notification, new board policy professional leaves, new administrative regulation family care and medical leave, new administrative regulation catastrophic leave program, new administrative regulation employee drug testing, new administrative regulation family care and medical leave, new board policy and administrative regulation catastrophic leave program. Are there any questions on any of these board policies? No? Okay, they'll come to us as for action item in the next board meeting.
I forgot to say something whenever you're done.
Okay. And so before we adjourn, I think Gabriela wants to say something?
Yes, one thing I forgot to thank was the Azusa Unified School District. There was an event, the Azusa Pacific University Community Counseling Center, that had their 30th year anniversary open house this last Wednesday, March 13th. And I want to personally thank each and every one of you who took the time to come to APU CCC. It was a very successful event. I do want to let you know that 4 cities were invited, and it was well attended by AUSD and Azusa Police Department and our government officials, our city councilman, and the mayor. So I do want to extend my grateful, thankful, I'm appreciative of you for making this successful event, and you guys were actually featured in the provost, APU provost, yes, the outreach community flyer that he puts out, and so I was very proud of that. So thank you, AUSD.
And we'll just add that we're all very proud of you, Gabriela, because we understand that this brings you one step closer to finishing your degree, right? So, so we're so proud of you. I'm glad that the community was able to support you in that. So with that, we will now adjourn the meeting at 9:05.
I finally get one. No. The safe.